Imagine this. You're completely alone, maybe sitting at your desk, maybe walking home, maybe just relaxing on your couch after a long day. And suddenly something feels off. Your chest feels tight. Your breathing feels strange. Your body feels like it's sending you signals you can't fully understand yet. In moments like that, panic is your biggest enemy. And today, I'm going to share something powerful inspired by Japan's oldest practicing doctor, something simple you can do in the very first few seconds. Not to replace medical help, not to fix anything on your own, but to steady yourself, clear your mind, and give yourself the calm and focus you need to get help immediately. This tiny 5-second technique has nothing magical in it, but the way it resets your mind and body can genuinely make a difference in an emergency. So stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you may help you or someone you love one day. The first 5 seconds during a health emergency are often the most important because they set the tone for how your mind responds to what your body is feeling. When something suddenly feels wrong inside your chest or anywhere in your body, your brain's natural reaction is to panic, and panic is powerful enough to shut down clear thinking. In those moments, the mind jumps to conclusions, the breath becomes shallow, the heartbeat speeds up, and your thoughts become scattered. That confusion can make you freeze or hesitate, and even a short delay can stop you from taking the steps that actually keep you safe. This is why Japan's oldest doctor talks about those first few seconds so often. He explains that what you do with your mind at the beginning of a crisis influences every decision that follows. If panic takes over, people tend to wait, deny what they feel, or convince themselves that it will pass. But if calmness takes over, even for just a moment, the mind regains its ability to think clearly and act quickly. The doctor teaches a simple idea: you don't need strength, deep knowledge, or special training to take control of your mind for a few seconds. All you need is awareness and a conscious breath. When you take a gentle inhale and a longer exhale, you interrupt the wave of panic before it becomes overwhelming. That single breath sends a message to your nervous system that you are not in immediate danger from the outside world, and this allows your brain to shift out of shock and back into clarity. Instead of freezing, you become present. Instead of spiraling in fear, you become focused. These calm seconds help you notice what your body is feeling more accurately, and they help you recognize whether something feels serious enough to act on. The doctor emphasizes that this technique is not about ignoring what's happening, pretending to be fine, or trying to fix anything on your own. It's about preventing panic from taking away your ability to make good decisions. In those first seconds, your breath becomes a tool that gives your brain enough space to think. When your mind is steady, you're able to reach for your phone, ask for help, or call emergency services without hesitation. Many people underestimate how much panic affects the body. It tightens the muscles, speeds the heart, and floods the mind with fear-driven thoughts that make every step harder. But when you calm your breath, you calm the chain reaction. The doctor says that the body's signals might be confusing or frightening, but the mind must stay clear enough to respond. Those early seconds are not about diagnosing yourself, they are about creating the mental clarity you need to take action. A steady breath becomes the bridge between fear and awareness, allowing you to respond to your body with attention instead of panic. When you understand how powerful those first seconds are, you start to see that staying mentally present is one of the most valuable skills you can develop for any moment of sudden stress or uncertainty, especially when you're alone and responsible for your own safety. The Japanese doctor's 5-second breathing technique is meant to remind you that your mind needs to stay clear long enough for you to take real life-saving action. And the reason he teaches this is because people often underestimate how quickly fear can cloud the ability to think. When something feels wrong in your body, especially something sudden or unfamiliar, your nervous system reacts instantly. Your breath shortens, your heartbeat speeds up, and your thoughts start racing in different directions. In that moment, people either deny the feeling or overreact internally, but both responses lead to hesitation. The doctor explains that this tiny breathing technique is not a treatment and not something that affects the body directly, but it plays a powerful role in how the mind handles stress. When you inhale gently and then release the breath slowly, you interrupt the panic response before it grows stronger. This single action gives your brain a moment of clarity, almost like wiping away the fog that fear tries to create. That clarity makes the difference between freezing and acting. It helps you acknowledge what your body is telling you without getting swept up in fear. You become aware of what's happening instead of overwhelmed by what might happen. The doctor has seen many patients who waited too long during emergencies simply because they were too scared to move or thought they were overreacting. Those delays were not caused by the symptoms themselves but by the panic that followed. That is exactly why he teaches this mental reset. It doesn't heal anything. It doesn't stop anything inside the body, and it doesn't replace professional help. Its only purpose is to calm your mind enough so you can do the one thing that genuinely matters in a critical moment: reach out for help as fast as possible. After that slow exhale, your thoughts become clearer, your hands stop shaking as much, and your focus sharpens. You remember that the correct step is to call emergency services. You remember that hesitation can be dangerous. You remember that your life is more important than worrying about whether you're wrong or overreacting. The technique also helps prevent the spiral of what-ifs that usually appear during frightening moments. Without a pause, the mind jumps into worst-case scenarios, and those thoughts freeze the body. But with a single calming breath, the mental chaos slows down, and you regain the ability to think logically. You can observe your symptoms more clearly instead of letting fear distort them. You can listen to your instincts instead of arguing with them internally. You can decide to take action because you're grounded rather than terrified. The doctor reminds people that clarity is the real goal. A clear mind calls for help. A clear mind doesn't wait. A clear mind doesn't argue with itself. And a clear mind is something anyone can achieve in just a few seconds when guided by a steady breath. That is why this technique matters. It doesn't promise healing. It promises focus. And focus is what leads you to reach for the phone, call for help, and get the professional care that actually protects your life. Staying aware of your body's signals is one of the most important habits you can build. And the Japanese doctor emphasizes this because most people move through their day without paying real attention to what their body is trying to communicate. The body rarely gives sudden warnings without quieter hints appearing first, but those hints are easy to dismiss when you're busy, stressed, or simply used to pushing through discomfort. Things like unusual chest pressure, a strange heaviness, sudden fatigue, tightness in your jaw or shoulders, or a feeling that something is off, often get ignored because they don't feel dramatic enough. People tell themselves it's probably nothing, or they blame it on stress, food, or tension. But the doctor says the problem is not the feeling itself. The problem is the habit of ignoring those feelings. Your body sends signals because it's trying to get your attention, and when you listen early, you make safer choices. Awareness is not about assuming the worst or panicking at every small sensation. It's about being honest with yourself in the moment. It's about noticing when something doesn't feel normal for you. Everyone knows their own baseline, the way they usually breathe, the way their chest usually feels, the way their energy usually flows. When something suddenly shifts away from that baseline for no clear reason, your awareness becomes your first line of protection. The doctor explains that many serious emergencies become worse because people convince themselves to wait. They hope the feeling will pass, they assume it's temporary, they don't want to cause concern. By waiting, they give fear and denial more control than their own instincts. But people who learn to pay attention tend to respond faster. They don't argue with their body. They don't assume the discomfort is meaningless. They acknowledge what they feel, which gives them the mental space to take action. This awareness becomes even more important when you're alone because there's no one around to observe your behavior, check on you, or notice that something is wrong. When you're alone, every decision comes from your own judgment, so that judgment has to be clear. Awareness isn't just about noticing physical sensations, it's also about noticing emotional signals like sudden anxiety, unexplained restlessness, or a sense of internal alarm. Your body and mind work together, and sometimes emotional discomfort appears before physical discomfort fully shows itself. The doctor teaches that ignoring these signals is like ignoring flashing warning lights on a dashboard. They don't tell you exactly what's wrong, but they tell you something needs attention. People who live longer, he says, are not those who never face problems but those who respond early because they respect what their body is communicating. When you accept that your body's signals are worth listening to, you stop brushing things off. Instead of thinking, "It's probably fine," you learn to think, "This feels different from my usual, and I should pay attention." That simple shift in attitude can completely change how quickly you act in a moment of uncertainty. Awareness gives you the ability to recognize that a situation might be serious, and once you recognize that, you're far more likely to reach out for help instead of waiting for things to get worse. It's not about diagnosing yourself. It's about valuing the messages your body sends and choosing to respond with the respect and care those messages deserve. Being alone during a health emergency can feel overwhelming because there's no one nearby to help you think clearly or make decisions for you. And that's why the Japanese doctor teaches that mental clarity becomes even more important when you're on your own. Fear can take over incredibly fast, especially when you feel something unusual in your body and there's no one around to reassure you. When fear takes control, your thoughts scatter, your breath becomes shallow, and your ability to make clear decisions fades. This is where the slow exhale becomes essential, not as a medical treatment, but as a way to anchor your mind before panic grows stronger. When you breathe out slowly, it signals your nervous system to calm down just enough to regain your focus. You aren't stopping what's happening in your body, but you are stopping fear from shutting down your ability to act. The doctor explains that when people panic, they often freeze. Freezing feels like stillness, but it's really the mind being overwhelmed by too many fearful thoughts at once. In that frozen moment, people lose precious time because they hesitate, or argue with themselves, or hope that the feeling will simply pass. But a slow exhale helps break that freeze. It gives your mind a brief moment of calm, like clearing the noise so you can hear your own instincts more clearly. Once the panic softens even a little, your thoughts become more organized, and the next steps become easier to take. You can reach for your phone, call emergency services, or follow instructions without letting fear delay you. When you're alone, there is no backup, and that's why these small mental resets matter so much. No one else can act for you. No one else can notice something is wrong. It's just you and your ability to stay mentally steady long enough to respond. The doctor says that the people who survive emergencies, when alone, are not the ones who are the strongest physically, but the ones who can keep their minds calm enough to act quickly. The slow exhale is a tool to help create that calm. It doesn't claim to heal anything or replace medical care. Its only purpose is to make your brain functional instead of frightened. Once you regain that mental clarity, you're far less likely to make dangerous decisions influenced by panic. You stop thinking in circles like, "Maybe I'm overreacting," or "Maybe it's nothing," and instead you start thinking in terms of safety and responsibility. Clarity makes you honest with yourself about what you're feeling. It helps you acknowledge the seriousness of the moment instead of running from it. It reminds you that calling for help is not an overreaction but a necessary step. Being alone means you must rely on your own awareness, your own judgment, and your own willingness to act. The slow exhale strengthens all three by grounding you in the present moment. It brings you out of fear and into focus. It allows you to move from confusion to action, and in situations where time matters, that shift can make a meaningful difference. When you start paying attention to the signals your body gives you, life becomes a lot safer because sudden health events rarely happen without a warning sign. The body is incredibly intelligent, and it often whispers before it screams, but the problem is most people dismiss these whispers as tiredness, stress, or a temporary discomfort. Understanding how subtle changes in breathing, pulse, pressure, or energy levels can indicate that your heart is under strain gives you the power to respond faster and protect yourself when you're alone. Many people wait for dramatic chest discomfort to realize something is wrong, but in reality, the body usually gives small clues hours or even days before anything serious happens, and becoming aware of these clues is like adding an extra layer of safety around your health. Sometimes it's something as simple as feeling unusual tightness in your shoulders, neck, or jaw, or maybe a strange sense of fatigue that feels different from normal tiredness, almost like your body is drained from inside. At other times, you might feel light pressure in the middle of the chest that comes and goes, not enough to scare you, but noticeable enough that it shouldn't be ignored. Your heartbeat might feel slightly irregular at times, not dramatically, but just different enough that you sense something is off. Your breathing may feel shorter, even though you're not doing anything physically demanding, almost as if you have to take a deeper breath to feel normal again. These signs don't always mean something dangerous is happening, but they do mean your body wants your attention. Becoming tuned in to your own heart rhythm and breathing pattern helps you spot unusual changes early, and once you build this awareness, you automatically react faster in urgent situations. For example, if you suddenly feel pressure combined with dizziness while alone, your brain immediately recognizes that this isn't normal and you must take action instead of waiting to see if it passes. Sometimes people ignore these cues because they assume serious problems always arrive dramatically, but in reality the earliest warnings are subtle, and those who survive dangerous situations are often the ones who notice something small and responded instead of overlooking it. This awareness also reduces panic during unexpected moments because when you understand your body, you don't feel confused or helpless, you feel prepared, and that preparedness itself protects you. Small signals like discomfort traveling from the chest to the throat, or pressure combined with sweating even in a cool environment, or a sudden wave of nausea without a clear reason can be the body's way of telling you to pause, breathe, sit down, and apply techniques that help stabilize your heart while you arrange help. Instead of guessing, you start acting with intention, and this calm awareness can prevent symptoms from worsening. When your body sends these cues, it doesn't mean you should be afraid. It means you should be alert and responsive because the earlier you act, the better your chances of staying safe, especially when you're alone. Developing the habit of checking in with your body each day, noticing how your breath feels, how your heartbeat sounds, how your muscles respond, and how your energy levels shift strengthens your intuition and allows you to sense unusual changes earlier, giving you precious time to apply simple techniques and get help before anything escalates.